Hi, Meryl.
Hi, Paul.
So last week, every teacher received an email from Becky over at Twinkle, and it was advertising their carbon literacy training. And that got us thinking about all of the training that's available to teachers. And we should probably say we've got a document which summarizes lots of the training available from free to all of the kind of cost stuff. And we think that's pretty good overview. But what we wanted to do was give a bit of a summary because, Meryl, what's the situation like?
Well, because if you're at the chalk face and you're busy, we know from research done by Reboot the Future and things that 70% of teachers do not feel that confident about teaching about climate change because they've never received any training. And so while we wait for formal training to come down through the DFE, which might well happen in the future, let's have a think about what teachers can do themselves to give them that confidence. So what we're going to try and do is just unpick a few of those different courses to see what they offer and whether it might suit your needs.
So the first one, I guess the one that maybe everyone knows about is carbon literacy.
And
And
they've been accredited. They're accrediting lots of other courses now. It's an amazing organisation.
yeah, so what they've done is basically create a package that people can deliver, I guess. And there's a framework to this. So it's a bit like a franchise that then people and other organizations deliver that training, and they normally involve some videos. There's elements of online, maybe self-led, or it may be actually kind of coming together on a call, and then
And
there's
then
also a community
yeah,
element.
community chat. And so what we've got is Twinkle have just launched theirs. They produce some great resources. I'm sure their online course is really good. Kew Gardens, Kew and Wakehurst have done one. Again, carbon literacy accredited. And local authorities, organisation, like Waltham Forest have got their own. And so it's really worth having a look around to see if you can find some certified carbon literacy training. They usually cost, but you are getting accredited. So that could then go as part of your formal CPD or on your CV even.
So I know then like the variation between these, it might be that you're gaining something from that organization. So Twinkle, obviously the big online platform, Q has their experience with all of their gardens, and then the local authority is maybe more tailored to what's going on in the local authority. But the price difference is quite big, noticeable. But again, in the context of like training you might do in other areas as a teacher, it's probably comparable. So Twinkles is £140. The Kew Gardens, there's a bit of variation. So there's some funding for if you've got a pupil premium above 20%, it's slightly reduced, but otherwise it's 150. Or if you've got two teachers, it can be 200. And then at the local authority level, kind of the example we know of Waltham Forest, it's about £10 per teacher, but it's kind of around that, less than £100.
So super. And so, in terms of, I've done different online courses, and I always feel invigorated, much more knowledgeable, so therefore more confident. So it can be really worth getting, sort of an accredited course. There's other courses are available, obviously. So we've got Climate Fresque, which is usually a 3-hour workshop. It's developed in France, but it's very much delivered in the UK in English. And you can train to be a climate fresca to actually deliver the courses yourself. But they're interactive, in person sessions that can really boost your understanding and allow that dialogue, because when you're teaching about climate change, it's hugely important to have dialogue. So a climate fresque session is much cheaper. You can get those usually for about £10, sometimes online, sometimes in person. Lots of opportunities, but definitely you know less expensive, and might just give you that boost of confidence that you need to understand what's going on and how important dialogue is.
And the key bit with Climate Fresque is there's a pack of pictures that then frame the sort of journey you go on. So it's a slightly different one in the sense of that fresque is focused on the images, and it's yeah, like you say, that kind of conversation that leads things. The other big one then that we've seen pop up recently is Aim High have teamed up with Earth Cups, and actually that one's free. And it's if anyone kind of it's well worth experiencing. It's Aim High have got this really unique interactive approach, and there's a couple of dates that are available over the coming months. And obviously, again, you're kind of gaining from Earth Cub's experience of their overview of kind of climate education, particularly with that primary focus.
And they've got a really fun way of delivering information to children, so I'm sure that one would be great to do as an online session. You've then got lots and lots of organisations such as the Climate Museum, Bridget McKenzie, who's got a program called Earth Talk, various levels available. Yes, there's a charge, but I know Bridget's view on life and teaching through an ecological lens. or an environmental lens could put a really good spin on it for educators. There's thought box education, their triple wellbeing approach. So these aren't necessarily climate literacy or carbon literacy programs, but they very much could enrich your teaching and make you more confident. And then I think something we unfortunately all need to start becoming more aware of is the work of the climate psychologists, because there's some young people are starting to struggle with eco-anxiety and eco-sadness, as Caroline Hickman would put it. So I think there's lots of potential for other courses in the wider remit. But if we're focusing on climate change itself and the causes, consequences, mitigation, adaptation, climate dialogue, those might be more specific. So it might be your next step.
And many of those courses as well either are residential or it's about getting people together in person, whereas some of the other ones we've talked about are maybe online or can be done a bit more self-directed rather than those. And it may, for some of those actually as well, what happens is those people might come and visit your school if you can organise it for a whole trust or for the school. The other one then is there's lots of self-directed free stuff online like FutureLearn and the UN climate change eLearn platform thing.
It's got loads and loads of different courses, all free, and bit dry possibly, but useful. And depending if you wanted to understand about the effect of climate change on different genders or on young people or on health and well-being in terms of vector-borne diseases, is a really good place to find lots and lots of useful information.
And then
there's lots of schools and organisations getting their schools and staff trained up. One of them, which I'd love to mention, is Teach the Teacher with SOS, because that's young people getting trained up in understanding about climate change and then delivering CPD to their own staff. It's free. There's actually a little bursary available, so you can end up getting some lovely sustainable tea and biscuits, or it was last year. And we gave Teach the Teacher in school at my school, and it was, according to my head teacher, the best ever CPD she'd received. So well worth looking at.
yeah, and then there are whole colleges or schools who are training up every single student to do one of these courses. So they either add it in as an extracurricular thing or they put it into the PSHE program. And also there are some schools who their teachers, sorry, all the staff as well have been trained up with this. The one that we should also mention, Meryl, before we go any further, is obviously the UCL, the IOE have got their online teacher training as well. And again, lots of universities are now kind of engaging in this as well, either running training solely for their trainee teachers or reaching out and kind of have courses for teachers.
And looking at a specific, subject leads. So head of geography or head of English could do a course as part of the IOE at UCL courses.
Yeah. The IOE stuff is tailored towards subject specific,
and that's
stuff.
free. Yeah. So then some local development education centres, some local climate ambassadors through STEM learning. There's lots and lots of opportunities. But I think that was a really good little chat, though. That might help some people understand what's out there and what might suit their purpose.
Cool.
Lovely. Thanks ever so much, Paul. Chat to you soon.